Surprised TikTok lawyers ain't catch this, but then again, I do listen actively and I pay attention to detail because the more I learn about this and the more lawsuits are coming out, the more questions I have, right? So I'm going to throw out some rapid fire questions. Question number one, if those text messages that was utilized in the initial complaint for the lawsuit was not acquired legally by a subpoena or volunteered by one of the parties that was corresponding via text message, like that's a whole federal crime that's been committed, right? Like that can easily get thrown out in court if the judge does not pursue criminal charges because it's illegal to do any form of digital espionage, if you want to call it that. So if I was Justin Baldoni's lawyers, I would be asking, how did those text messages get acquired? Number two, Blake Lively was the executive producer for this movie. And as an executive producer, you are responsible for the HR, the hiring, and the administrative duties for the production of the movie. Why wasn't an intimacy coordinator hired in the very beginning? Why did you not get an intimacy coordinator, considering that she has been in the industry pre-Me Too? I mean, yeah, granted that she wasn't consistently working, but she's been in the industry a hell of a lot longer than Justin Baldoni. And under the wake of Me Too, this is why intimacy coordinators are there. And that is her responsibility as the executive producer. So it's standard practice for her co-stars and Colleen Hoover in the studio and SAG-AFTRA to, stand behind Blake Lively. So I'm not surprised. I think it's kind of fucked up because it kind of paints Justin Baldoni in a negative light. But hey, c'est la vie. So there's no question on that. Question is, if it wasn't an open set during those intimacy scenes and there were a lot of people coming and going, then if I was his lawyer, I would be subpoenaing, I think that's how you say the word, the crew and the staff in regards to a potential witness to said sexual harassment. Because if there were so many people around, considering that it is standard protocol for intimacy scenes to be a closed set with very minimal staff to be there, it has to be like a skeleton crew in order to protect the actors participating in those scenes, then there's a possibility of a witness either for or against Justin Baldoni. Because if Justin Baldoni did what he did, then there are multiple witnesses to corroborate Blake Lively's story, or vice versa. If the sexual harassment complaint was resolved in the very beginning before they resumed filming after the actor strike, why is it brought up again in the legal complaint? And then the second half of this question is, if the legal complaint is a result of the reprisal that she suffered because she filed the sexual harassment complaint, why wasn't this resolved or addressed to the senior leadership at Sony? Now, before y'all come up in my comment section talking about, but she's a victim and she was traumatized and she did this and she did that. Nah, killer. Doesn't work that way. Because right now the perception is she's using reprisal and sexual harassment as a means to destroy his entire reputation and his standing as a professional actor and director in the industry. She's weaponizing it. Because like I have said before in previous videos, anything can be deemed as sexual harassment. Anything. You can sit there and look in a person's general direction and lick your ashy, crusty ass lips, and that person could be like, I'm uncomfortable. That's sexual harassment. You could sit there and have an itch in your crotch area and try to adjust yourself, and someone looks at it from the corner of their eye, they could deem that as sexual harassment. Anything can be deemed as sexual harassment. But given the fact that she has been in the industry much longer than him And she was the executive producer of the film, which means that she had a greater responsibility than he did as a director. A lot of this stuff could have been resolved. This entire lawsuit is just used to ensure that his reputation and his brand is so tarnished that no one in the industry is going to hire him. That's the smear campaign. Because by the time this actually goes to court, no one is going to hire him.